If there's one thing I know for sure, it's that the person that has doubted me the most is myself. Even when I've been proven to be capable, I still feel that uncertainty where I'm questioning myself, asking myself if I can really do it. And of course, some days are better than others. Some days I'm not questioning my ability to do things. Some days I'm not overthinking or second guessing who I am. But I still don't have that guarantee where I can say 100% all the time I believe in myself. So when people talk to me and they say the generic, you can do anything is possible, and they try to uplift me, motivate me, it doesn't get through to me. And yes, I may be a little hard-headed at times, but that's not the reason. The reason is because I need to tell myself, you need to tell yourself, that doubt is temporary, but regret is forever. When you doubt yourself, the first thing that happens is you hesitate. You stand still for a moment and you start building up all these imaginary scenarios that aren't even gonna happen. The next thing you do is build an excuse. And the excuse you build is actually a reasonable one. Oh, I would have done this, but I feel tired. I have this to do today. Let me save my energy. We do this often so that we do not feel guilty. And lastly, what we all do is put it off completely and say we are not going to do it. These 3 solid steps. What could go wrong? What could go wrong and what does go wrong is as the days go by, the weeks, the months, the regret kicks in. I would have done this. I could have done this. I should have done this. How many times are you willing to repeat these same questions to yourself and not make a change? In hindsight, that small risk that you didn't take because you thought it was a big one actually lasts forever. And you can't go back to that moment. If I could go back to those moments, oh boy, the things I would have done, the risks I would have taken. You see, in our lives, we go through moments, we go through phases, and there are different versions of ourselves. We regress, we progress, we remain the same. Even though we're in a constant loop of changing, there is also a constant feeling of regret. When I tell you I'm an unbelievably nervous person, I won't lie, it has gotten better. But let me just give you a few examples. Just the other day, I went to visit my girl as she's in university now, and she has all these new friends I have to meet. The first friend of her I met was coming up the stairs and was knocking on the door, and I remember just sitting on my girl's bed. And my heart was racing. Not because I'm scared, not because I'm sure, and not because she was telling her friends all about me all this time. It's just because that's how I've always been. And I could list off so many examples of me just being nervous and goofy, but I'm sure you get the gist of what I'm saying. So just imagine me acting like that and then me not being able to do certain things, take certain risks, because I'm a nervous and kind of anxious guy. And I feel like my mum knew this from I was young, because she would always tell me when she was around my age, there were certain opportunities that she didn't take because she doubted herself and was just too nervous, too anxious to go forward. So ever since my mum told me that from a young age, I tried to get myself as stuck in as many things as I possibly could. And as I got older, I focused on conquering that doubt. And that's the thing you have to understand, is that doubt is fleeting. It is something that can be conquered, whereas regret is everlasting and it has consequences. Before you take that risk, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? Make a list in your mind. What are the pros? What are the cons? And most of the time, there are going to be more pros than cons. Every time you do something that makes you feel discomfort, allows you to grow. When I feel uncomfortable, I do these things with my fingers where I kind of twist and bend, if you will, or apply pressure, I'll say. All right, I don't want you to worry. When I go through this action, I used to want to stop. Let's say I'm on a run and I'm feeling really uncomfortable and I start moving my fingers like this. I used to tell myself, all right, maybe it's time I should stop, but I never did. And now when I do it, it pushes me further because I know with discomfort only comes change. If you want to change how you are, you're going to need to get out of your comfort zone. When we feel comfortable in doing something, we stick to it. And normally being uncomfortable makes us just put things off. The more you put less thought into the bad things that can happen when you're getting out of your comfort zone, the more you embrace being uncomfortable because it is a real feeling, is the more you become comfortable with being uncomfortable. suddenly you're able to do more. Suddenly you're able to take more risks because you're starting to get used to it. Something that has worked for me is saying 1, 2, 3, and I just immediately do something. Or I at least try to. Try to get out of your comfort zone. Try to do stuff immediately. All you can do is really try. And trying is always going to be better than doing nothing. A lot of you need to break your limits. And what I mean by that is you need to break that mental barrier that is holding you back. The only reason it's not broken is because you're getting comfortable with how things are. And I don't know about you, but I personally love being comfortable. But I know that that is a temporary good feeling. Haven't you noticed that when you are comfortable, eventually something bad happens? And it's because of that laziness. It's because of that lack of drive to change who you truly are. And the best thing you can do, the only thing you can do is try to change, at least try. We could sit here for 10 more minutes, 20 more minutes of me trying to get you to understand what I'm saying. But the only way anything is going to give you any value is you actually doing something. You actively pushing yourself, even if it's not working out, even if you feel uncomfortable to the point where you can't move. I can guarantee you growth and I can guarantee you results. Something that has stuck with me is that if there's no risk, there's no story. And at first I thought, I'm not really, living to tell a great story down the line to my kids' and, just to other people one day. That's not why I personally live. But as time goes by, I see how that actually is important. Your story could be such a great story, but it is up to you how you are going to tell it. I don't want to be forgotten. I want to be remembered for something, but I don't know if you do. And if you don't, there's nothing wrong with that. But what is wrong is living with regret, because you have the power to do something. You have the power to at least try. Oh my God.